Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant. This is all new to me. First time I'm using Facebook mentions. This is something that my man Roland Martin turned me on to communicate with you wherever I am in real time and allow you to communicate with me. I'm going to try to master this, and I'll respond to comments as I see them. I don't expect many on this first time out, given that this is all new to you too. So I wrote a piece on LinkedIn influencers talking about how to quit right, or the right way to quit, and that implies it's the wrong way to quit your job. And that's absolutely accurate. It was sparked by the young lady who resigned very publicly from MSNBC. But it's really not about her, right? I think she's fantastic. For the record, this is not a criticism of her. I think she's a great voice. I think she's a great media personality, and I loved her interviews. I think she was very real and very candid, and didn't hurt that she was a minority voice. But she wasn't a minority voice in the sense of having a minority view. She just happened to be an African American, but she had an American view. She had a world view, and she brought relevant issues to the table. And I didn't think she made a wrong step until she quit it publicly, like an email to the world. And I think she got emotional. So anyway, this piece is not about her, but it was kicked off. It was sort of pivoted by her experience, and I wanted to use it as a teachable moment on leadership. And it sort of pivots off something I wrote in my book called Love Leadership, The New Way to Lead in a Fear-Based World. So here's the premise that I use. Talk without being offensive, listen without being defensive, and always leave even your adversary with their dignity. Because if you don't, they'll spend the rest of their life trying to make you miserable. We don't do business with governments or companies or communities. We do business with people. And people have personalities, they have egos, they have low self-esteem, they have fears. And I wrote in this book, Love Leadership, there's two ways, there's two things in the world. There's love and there's fear. And what you don't love, you fear. And the reason the world's all screwed up is that most of our so-called leaders have been leading by fear. And you got a guy, running for president who's just, pushing fear. So if you want to quit, don't broadcast it to the world. One, that's going to live forever, right? Your emails, your drama will live forever. People are just waiting for a moment to say you're crazy, you're out your mind, and that's the reason why we should either never have hired you or won't in the future. Don't give them that opportunity. My pastor, Reverend Murray, would say, talk without being offensive, listen without being defensive, and always leave your adversary their dignity, as I said before, but also it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important. And never answer out of your name. And then I added, to argue with a fool proves there are two. So if you got the power, you don't need to use it. If I know who I am, I don't need to be, broadcasting to the world and saying that you're some bad person or whatever, because I already know who I am. But worst of all, when you do that, you are not giving the other person a dignified way out. You're almost forcing them to be a jerk. When you blow somebody up on prime time, you're forcing the other person to respond because now they think their ego and their self-esteem and their rep is on the line. So you're not giving them a graceful way out. You call somebody a jerk, you call somebody a racist, you say that they have bad intentions, bad heart. How do you know they got a bad heart? But when you say that, when you call somebody out of their name, versus just saying, hey, I was hurt and offended by what you did, when you call somebody out of their name like that, you've given them no way to negotiate, no way out of that. They gotta come back, they feel, and defend themselves. And if that person is your employer, they're gonna fire you. And if they don't fire you today, they don't fire you this moment, they're gonna paper you out the door. They're gonna just find the time to get you out of this. So you have won the battle, you got emotional. I hope you feel good about that. Now you've won the battle and you've lost the war. You've won the battle and you've lost the war. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. The ship is sinking and we're picking drapes. The boat is going down and we are trying to see what color the drapes are. So you've got to watch how you live your life. And watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible anybody else reads. You're not dealing with people who know you, respect you, admire you. These are people who are, they're like, I'm trying to talk about me. No, you talk about me. They're concerned about themselves, their own deal. And they're not looking at justice, right? They're looking at just us. So don't get emotional. That's my big newsflash. Whatever decision you make emotionally is going to be the wrong decision. I'm going to repeat that. Whatever decision you make emotionally is going to be the wrong decision. Do not react, respond to life. Life is 10% what life does to you and 90% how you choose to respond to it. What's your response going to be? Okay, that's enough for this one. You can reread the piece and then maybe gives it a bit more context. There was a little drama with some comments and some commenters who had some disagreement on the piece. I may come back and say a little bit about that later on today if I get through my meetings. There was also another guy who, I won't mention his name, but really said the piece really helped him as he's going in next week to potentially deal with, either being asked to leave his employer or just being told he has a different job or a less of a job he may want to quit. And it said it really helped him, sort of understand how he needed to treat people how you want to be treated. And if you can take that in your life, you'll be good. Like no matter what happens in your life, treat people. Don't treat people how they treat you. Treat people how you'd want to be treated. It makes life a lot easier. See ya. Peace. Bye. Make a